Hi guys, welcome back again. So today is day 25. For the 100 days of Cloud Azure, now I'm trying to do the day 25 lab. So the lab title is expanding and managing disk storage. Alright, so if we are ready, let's go. So let me go to draw.com. This is from the previous lab. So here we're gonna have to wait around 2 minutes, I think so, probably. I don't know, one every single Azure lab takes around 2 minutes, 3 minutes. It's not because of internet connection. Actually, why? This is bad user experience. Oh, another 2 minutes? Damn. Alright. Okay, so let me read from the top to down. So here the nautilus depth of 10 needs to expand the storage capacity of an existing virtual machine. So they already have a virtual machine, and add an additional data disk to support increased workloads. Alright, so this task requires resizing the existing virtual machine disk, alright, and mounting a new data disk to the virtual machine. So as a member of the team, perform the following steps. So the first step is expand the existing virtual machine nautilus-vm disk from 32 GB to 64 GB. Okay, let me copy all of these things. And this is the thing that I would like to, I had to do first. So for the first requirement, I will copy all of these sentence. So here, how to expand from CentOS terminal. Alright, so we're gonna have to do step by step. So the first step is here, oh no, this is not correct. Okay, so the first thing is we need to deallocate the virtual machine, right? So here, so before we run this, we need to know the resource group name, right? So let me find the resource group name. Is that group list? So now we get the resource group name right here. So this is our resource group name, and I will copy that resource group name and I will replace right here. So here is I don't need this. Okay, so this is the resource group name. Okay, so we deallocate the current existing virtual machine, and then we'll go to the second step. So we will update this size. So we'll replace with the here before we run this the second comment. So we need to know that our disk name. So how do we know that our disk name? So how to get to know Azure OS VM, Azure OS disk name. So you can run this command. Alright, so I will run this. So we will replace with the correct resource group name. So Azure resource group name again, I will get from here. So I will copy that and I will replace it right here. And the virtual machine name is nautilus-vm, right? Nautilus nautilus-vm. So now I will run this command to get the disk name. So this is the Nautilus virtual machine disk OS disk name, right? So I will copy this. So and then I will run these commands. So here, so this is the OS disk name. So okay, I will copy from here and I will put there, and I will also replace with the resource group name. So resource group name is right here the same. So I will do like that. Where is that? Now I will run this command to update the disk size to the 64 GB. And finally we can restart the virtual machine using this command. So here also we need to replace with the resource group name. So resource group name I can get from here, from the top command, from the above command. So I will run this command, the second command, to restart the virtual machine. Alright, so here we successfully increase the size of the disk. So now I will restart the virtual machine again. Alright, so now we go to the second step, second requirement. So I will copy the whole sentences. Now let me ask in the Google. So how to create SCCM mount and nautilus from CentOS terminal for cookloudlet. Let me get the cookloudlet to be more accurate. So here there are many commands that we need to execute right here. So the first command is we had to create and attach the disk. So we run this first command to do like that. Okay, so I will copy this command, and here we need to replace with the Azure resource group name. So here is resource group name is, I will copy from here again. Okay, so I will replace here. So the virtual machine name is nautilus-vm right here. Virtual machine is nautilus-vm, and the disk size is 64 GB. But we have to mount that disk into a specific location. So you need to bear in mind this specific location name. So here this name is nautilus-disk, alright. So now we are created this here. New disk name is nautilus-disk, and then we will attach to this new nautilus virtual machine. Here size GB is 64. SKU type is standard LRS. Alright, so now it's ready to run this command. So I will run that command. Okay. So and after that, we need to identify the partition. So partition the disk. Alright, so SSH into the nautilus. So we need to trying to access to the nautilus virtual machine using SSH and find a new disk device. Usually dep stc if this the first added to the disk. Okay. So before we trying to identify and partition the disk, we need to try to access to the nautilus-vm. So how do we access to the nautilus-vm? At least we should have the public IP address of the nautilus-vm, right? Okay, so we need to know the public IP address, right? So how to get the, let me find how to get the public IP address of Azure virtual machine. So you can run this command. So here a resource group name is, we will replace again right here. Okay, you can copy from here. So I will copy this resource group name and I will put right there, and virtual machine name is nautilus-vm, nautilus nautilus-vm. Now I will run this command to get the public IP address. So this is the public IP address of the nautilus virtual machine. So now let me access with the SSH Azure user to this specific virtual machine. So I will put this public IP address right here, enter, and say yes. Alright, now we are on the nautilus virtual machine. So now we can try to identify the disk using this command, running this command. So I will check that ls deallocate. So here, so the name is, so the name is SDC, right? Here the name is SDC. This is the latest one that we created, 64 GB right here. So we don't need to think about for the top ones right here. So this is the latest one here, 64 GB. So the name is, this name is SDC. So and after that we will run this command to create a partition. So here here we need to run this command to create a partition. So before we partition, we need to get the correct disk name. So here is the same SDC. So we don't need to change that. So now we run this. Right now we run this. So here we have to type the command. So wait, what is that? Type n new partition, then p primary, then 1 partition number, and press enter. Alright, so we will type n for the new partition, command n. Okay, so the 4 is primary, so we create the p. We type the p right here like that, and dash 1 and 1. I will type p. So partition number is 1. I will type 1, and I will type enter. Yeah. Oh, enter. So yeah, 2 to 4 setters. Yeah, enter. So now we created a new partition 1 for the type Linux of this data site. This size is 64 GB. Okay. So after this stuff, we need to format and mount the disk. So we had to create a file system and link it to the required directory. So let me run this command right now. Okay, so we don't need to change anything right here. So here is set is standard for free. Okay, let me start here. Yes. Oh, are you on writer changes will be lost? Yes. So now I will run this command. Oh, the file there's no issue, the size not specifies. Is the problem? Oh, something is wrong. This is the same. Let me run this command again. What's wrong? Sudo f. The byte does not contain a recognized partition table. Changes will remain in memory only until you decide to write them. Be careful before using the right command. So the byte does not contain a recognized partition table created with the entity file. So let me copy this. What I have to do now? Let me erase right here. What's the next things? So let me erase that here. So type and enter, press type and press enter. Okay, type W. So okay, I will type W and enter. Yeah, so we save it. So okay, that's fine. So we go back right here. So now this time I need to format and mount the disk. So I will run this command. So okay. Oh, the file is now does not exist. What's wrong? What's wrong? So what's wrong? Let me ask that AI again. What I was wrong? So let me find like that. So the error does not exist happens because the Linux kernel does not update its device list after you save the partition table in FDSK. So the kernel is still looking at this layout, the one with no partitions. You don't need to reboot. You just need to force the kernel. Okay. So run the port table command to refresh the partition. So let me run this command again. Okay, that's great. And I check the partition as. So now you will see the SDC. I don't see the SDC. Wait, what is the SDC one? List on the SDC. I don't see yet right here. So I will copy this. I don't see new partition. What I need to face. So the problem is we will rerun the disk to set the partition. Alright. Okay, now again and again. Okay, we will run this command again. This command is, I would like to explain it right here again. This command is for the, to identify and partition. This is for identification of the disk, and this is for the create a new partition. Now we create a new partition again. So here, so like he say, like here, where is that? We need to type n. Okay, right. I type n. This is for new partition, and then I will type p. So that's p, and partition number I will type 1, and first setter, so for first setter is I will type enter. Okay, and for this last setter I will type enter again. So I need to save it, right? So this is very important, so I will type W, enter. Yeah, so we successfully save it. So and let me check it again. So oh yeah, now we see that SDC1. That's fine. Okay. So now we format the partition. So let me go back right here again. So now we format that partition here. So we will run this command. Actually, this command is the same as here. Here. So I will run this command. Format the partition. Okay. Okay, we successfully done right here. So the next claim is we have to create a mount point. So here like that again. So we had to create a mount point. So I will run this command. We create a new directory right there for here sudo. This when I run these commands, according to these requirements, we have to write a specific location. We have to create that to do that new partition, right? So here is the name is -mnt and /mnt and /nautilus-disk. So here we create a new directory. Okay, and after that we will mount the disk right here. So we mount the disk. This is a source disk and this is a destination disk. Alright, so I will mount that. So here, and I will run the command to mount that disk. Okay, so we finished that. So finally we can make the mount persistence. So actually, you know, we don't need to do this steps because there's no mention about to make it persistent. But if you really like to do it, you can do it. And just these 3 remaining commands. So let me check here again. So we have done the mount the disk, and that will check our mounting of the disk is successful or not successful. So let me verify right here using this command. So here we successfully mount to this specific location, right? So here again I would like to go back again right here. So this part is not essential, optional here. Make the mount persistent to ensure that this state mounted after a reboot edit. So if you really like to run this command, so first of all we need to get the UUID of the partition by running this command, and we need to do some configuration for this fstab file, and then we have to that this UUID here. Wait, let me run this. Oh wait, that's not correct. So we get the UUID. So here you get the UUID, and then by copying this UUID value, you can configure within this fstab file, and then you have to replace right here to make it the mount persistent. Alright, so but we don't do this for this left, so we finish right here. Okay, so let me check it out and click confirm. Wait, okay, that's fine. So I will click confirm. Yeah, so we did it, right? So if I can do it, you can also do it. If you're not sure, you can ask this and Gemini AI, I think so. It's a Google AI mode. Yeah, you know, you can do step by step. So the first step is we create the disk, and we will attach that disk to the virtual machine, and then we will identify the disk, and we do the partition, and after that we will create the partition right here. And the second, as here, we format that disk and we will mount it to a specific directory. Here to a specific directory. That's it. So the only thing we need to aware and we need to consider carefully is that, you know, to type here. Where is that? To type these values right here. Here. For the new partition, we need to type N. For the primary, we need to type P. And for partition number, we need to type a specific number. You can type 2 or 3, but I type the number 1. And then we need to type enter for the first header, and then we need to type again enter for the last header. So don't forget this. This is very important. Finally, you need to save So you need to save with the typing by typing W. That's it. So finally you did it. This is the format for the new partition, and then here is we need to create a new mount point to save the disk, to manage the disk, right? And then we mount the disk. Here is the disk, and this is the destination location, right? So that's it. So no issue faced. I submit. So okay, thanks for watching. See you in the next coming video.